Hello, my name is Tiago. I am an otolaryngologist doctor. And today I'm going to talk to you about Cpap. This little device that has already changed the lives of many people who have sleep apnea. It can also save your life. So if you want to know everything about this little device here or about otolaryngology, consider subscribing to our channel, activate the notifications, because we have content here every week that can change your life. It's content about otolaryngology and everything you can improve your life at home. What is Cpap? The C in the word Cpap means continuous. So P for air pressure and the other P is positive. So it's continuous positive air pressure. It's an English name, that's why the continuous comes first. And this little device here, we have one from the ResMed brand, which is one of the most famous, which has one of the most common. It takes the air from the environment, the air enters the Cpap, and before entering it will pass through a barrier. The first barrier is a filter. Usually they have a filter or two filters that have to be changed periodically. And the air enters the device and inside it will be turbinate, let's say. It will gain a greater pressure and this pressure will pass through a hose, reach a mask that will reach your nose. But before it passes through this hose, before it reaches you, the patient, it will be moistened. So what every device should have is a moistener. Why does this make all the difference? A moistener is nothing more than a container where you will put distilled water, preferably, or if you are not able to have distilled water, at least a quality filtered water. And then you will put it will heat this water inside the device. And then this air that will pass through the hose, it will be moistened. This is extremely important for adaptation to Cpap. Because if you don't have a humidity air, a quality air, you will dry your mucosa. It's like you're sleeping in front of a fan. So the air that will pass through the trachea, reach the mask, reach your nose, it has to be preferably moistened. Okay, what are the types of Cpap that exist? Well, basically we have two types of Cpap. We have an automatic Cpap and a basic Cpap. What happens? The basic Cpap, it only has one pressure. You can only put a pressure on it, which is the air pressure that will pass through this trachea and reach your nose. Why? The moisturization is in the pharynx. And each one has a type of pharynx. There is a more flexible pharynx, another has a more rigid, harder pharynx. So each one will need, depending on your gravity, your disease, the obstructive sleep apnea, will need a pressure. And the basic devices, it only has one pressure. So for you to know the correct pressure, this can't be put on any device. I'll put more pressure, because then it will de-obstruct anything. This does not make it comfortable. In addition to not being comfortable, it can cause even more harm and worsen your apnea. So each one has an ideal pressure, and the pressure is only found with that exam, which is the polysonography. It is done with a polysonography with titillation. What is titillation? You will sleep there in the place where you will do the sleep test, the polysonography, but with Cpap. The pressure increases slowly, and then after the events, with the device, with the polysonography, you can locate if you are or not improving the apnea, you find the ideal pressure, and then it will give a report. And this report, with this ideal pressure, will be the pressure that will put in the basic Cpap. If yours was a basic Cpap, the basic Cpap is usually much cheaper. But there is another Cpap, which is the automatic. We call it APAP. What is an automatic Cpap? This one, for example, is an automatic device from ResMed. It is the AutoSense AutoSet 10. What is it? It has a window, a pressure interval. It starts at 4, which is the minimum pressure, and can go up to 20. But you also don't know what the ideal pressure is. This device finds, it can locate your apnea, know how much it needs to put pressure. And then it sees that you are having a need for a higher pressure to overcome the obstruction, it throws more pressure. But be careful, these devices are not so smart. And each person also needs, let's say, at least a window, an ideal pressure interval. So you can't leave the device open there. I will put my device between 4 and 20, which is the pressure window that these devices have. And then it chooses there, it is not so smart. We will talk about this in other videos. So you need to define at least the pressure window. So if you have a title, even better. If you don't, we usually put a smaller window. Depending on each one, we estimate for each patient. And then, with the Lotto, these newer devices, especially these devices that are automatic devices, they give us a lot of information. It gives if you have apnea or not, if you have a leak, if you have air escape on the mask, how long you have been using it. So it gives a series of information that is extremely important to evaluate through a Lotto. What are the parameters that we can put here? And it doesn't just have the pressure for us to choose. It has several parameters, in addition to the amount of humidifier, if we are going to put more water, less water to be humidifying the air that goes through the Cpap. In addition, it has other ways, it can turn on automatic, it can turn off automatic. It can have a way to make it more comfortable, right? The inspiration. So the more modern these devices are, for example, automatic devices, they don't give more data. This helps in adaptation. And as this is already a therapy, it is the best therapy for sleep-inducing apnea, but it is also a therapy that many people end up declining, end up giving up using Cpap. So if you make the right adjustment, if you make the right orientation, if you use it properly, if you take care of it properly, your adaptation will be much better. And this can be your only therapy. So take care, know about Cpap, how it works, how to adjust. If you are interested in this subject, want to know more, was indicated a Cpap for you, you don't know. I'll leave a link in the description about how to do it to get a better adaptation to Cpap. So if you like this content, in addition to others about otorhinolaryngology, about apnea, about Cpap, we will have several videos here about Cpap, how it works, how you adjust, several brands, how to adjust all these brands. So stay here, subscribe to our channel, activate the bell and see you in the next video.